Hi everyone, it's Cybersecurity Awareness Month and welcome to the live series Straight Off the Bat. Join us on Thursdays as we speak to individuals across multiple industries who will help you understand financial literacy and education. If you join us from Facebook, thank you so much. Don't forget to follow our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and today we're discussing tips to increase your cyber hygiene in Trinidad and Tobago. Our guest today is Rick Logan-Stanford. He is the team lead of infrastructure, policies, and legislation at the Trinidad and Tobago Cybersecurity Incident Response Team. So that sounds like a lot of work that we're going to try and delve into the next 60 minutes. He has a proven track record in incident response, vulnerability assessments, and gap analysis, which sounds like a lot. So we're going to bring him in to explain all of this because a lot of us are online, but we don't understand the nuts and bolts behind this thing. So welcome, Rick. How are you today?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing fine.
Great. So let's just get into it because a lot of people think 60 minutes is a long time, but the reality is there's so much to cover. And let's just get into it because, at the beginning, I introduced where you're from, which is part of a Trinidad and Tobago cybersecurity unit. So, what
Mm.
exactly is it and what does the organization do?
Okay, so the cybersecurity incident response team is actually the national CERT. What we're responsible for is incident response when it comes to any kind of cyber attack or cyber incidents within the country. We cover both the private and the public sector. So, to give an example, if an organization were to suspect that they had a cyber attack or there any kind of cyber discrepancy, they make a report to us. We come in, we investigate the situation, we contain the situation. If it's a cyber incident or cyber attack, we contain it and we help them to get back to recovery, as well as investigate the situation to give them a ideas of what happened, how it happened, and give them the breadcrumbs as to the entire incident.
All right, so I just want to preface this session with a lot of words we're not going to understand. So
Oh,
I'm just
sorry.
going to, be on behalf of these people, speak on behalf of the
Sure,
people.
sure,
So let
sure.
us know what exactly is breadcrumbs, because to me, that is literally what will encourage the ants. But to you, it means something different.
Oh no. So when we showcase the breadcrumbs, we actually go in through our investigation. We will be able to determine what happened. If it's a cyber incident, how it happened, how the cyber criminal was able to get into the system, how they were able to pull off the attack, what they did while they were in the system. If any did, we'll be able to determine if any data was exfiltrated from the network, and from that we could actually determine where the data was sent to, how much data was sent out, and actually give them a timeline exactly how it happened from beginning to end. That's what I meant by breadcrumbs.
So it's basically a trail. You see these, like, I'm going to reference cartoons where you have like these
Mhm.
little candies that goes towards a box and then you just.
Right. But when we do it for the organization who actually was attacked or actually are experiencing a cyber incident. So it's something we don't publicize. So the organization comes to us in the case of an incident, we do the investigation. Then we give a report to the IT units and the executives. This is what happened, right? Once it's determined whether it was an incident or it's something on a greater scale, we escalate it accordingly.
Okay. That's good to know. And I mean, that's information that we should all know when it comes to activity online. We're all leaving some form of breadcrumbs behind by our activity. How many of us have opened an account and just don't even remember what the password is, but you don't no longer go on that website? So I assume that would be a breadcrumb, correct?
That would not be a breadcrumb, but that's also a point for concern. Like you said, some persons will actually open an account and forget it's there and forget the password till get in. Often enough, what some persons tend to do, they tend to reuse passwords. Like they will use the same password for their Hotmail accounts as for their Gmail account because it's easy to remember. But when you do something like that and you use the same password for an account that you open that you don't use and you forgot about it, and that server becomes compromised, that password is now also compromised, and they could use that password to do any nefarious or malicious things that they want to do.
So, do you have any advice for us older folks who really it's just a lot to remember all these passwords. Just a quick
Mm.
note, you have any suggestions for folks who may be guilty of this?
Okay, so there are a lot of things to do. So the most common thing to do is actually have a password manager. That's a software or an app that stores all your passwords. Okay. Most of the times, these password managers actually require a password themselves, or they come in the form of your phone that you could actually just biolock it. But the most common practice we try to help persons with who don't want to get that deep into it is to actually have a passphrase. So in the beginning, passwords were meant to be like 8 characters long. You go in and they tell you it's supposed to be 8 characters long. But with the evolution of time and the techniques used by cyber criminals to break these passwords, the new best practice now is anywhere between 13 to 16 characters, and they're encouraged not to use a password or like a passphrase. Something as simple as "my dog likes bones" without any spaces or any special characters. You could alternate the capital letters if you want, but it needs to be something that you could remember that only you know alone, right? Um, but you don't reuse it or you don't get any variations of it. But remember to associate that phrase with whatever you're going to use it for, right? But and the most effective way is actually using a password manager.
Wow, okay. So when we think we know things, it changes. It changes so quickly.
It does. It
Uh,
does.
shout out to Fareed Mohammed joining us on Facebook. Thanks for joining us on our session today. So something you said earlier, and I think we need to elaborate on it because these sessions when they're over, folks could go back to it and watch it on replay.
Hmm.
So I like to just make sure we are clear on stuff. And you mentioned a bio lock. Can you explain what that is? Because a lot of us may be using it but don't understand the terminologies behind it.
Okay, so a biolock is just shortened for biometric lock. You do use it. All those who have iPhones use it. Most of these Samsungs, most of these smartphones have it where you just actually just have your fingerprint and you just touch it and it maps your fingerprint geometry and geography to lock anything from apps to software to even stuff your phone. Where you just use your fingerprint and that's it.
Thank you so much for that because it's a lot of times we may feel uncomfortable using it because we're like, okay,
Hmm.
we don't want our facial recognition because a lot of us watched Terminator back in the day. I think that was a documentary. So, what say
Uh,
you to those who are maybe fearful of using that method of locking their information?
um, it's something that is encouraged right now. So biometric locking and even facial recognition is a form of two-factor authentication. Is that something you can't? Well, I will. I'm not going to say can't fake. With the introduction of AI now, facial recognition is something that is coming along the way that persons, with the help of something called deepfake, which is AI software used to manipulate or give the false identification of somebody. So with deepfake, someone could take my face and actually use it and produce videos and pictures of me doing something when it's not really me. Right? I've been in conferences where I've actually seen deepfake in action, where it's someone totally different, but they're using the likeness of someone else to actually speak and move like them online, but not in person. But with that said, right? It is still a form of two-factor authentication to use to lock your devices. Um, I myself use two-factor authentication, facial recognition, as well as biometrics to lock my phones, to lock other devices. Um, it's something, and something is better than nothing when you're trying to protect yourself. Is what we say in the field is not a matter of if you're going to get attacked or if you're going to get hit, is when. And what we encourage persons to do is have layers of protection when they're trying to protect their data. And a password is not enough, right? You have the passphrase, and then when you add the biometrics onto that, you add a layer, and you add the biometrics and facial recognition. That's the next layer, right? From I could tell you, speaking from an attacker side of things, The longer it takes for an attacker to try to get your password, it's going to not give them much interest anymore. The longer it takes, that's less time it takes for me to go to the attacker to actually get to my objective. So right now in standard, if it takes an attacker more than a minute 35 seconds to crack a password, that's too long. I'm going to move on to something else. So when you put these layers in place and they try to come at you and they go through one try, and after a minute goes, they don't succeed, they find someone else, they move along. Right? So it's a deterrent at the end of the day.
Well, I guess that's good to know. The attention span is just as effective as a 3-year-old. Good to know. All right. So I know you mentioned deepfakes, and I just wanted to let everybody know we did have that session, our last live session. You could check it out on our social media platforms, Protection Against Cyber Attacks in Trinidad and Tobago with Sharon and Donalisa. They did cover in-depth deepfakes, so that's definitely a conversation worth exploring. So let's go back to this CSIRT and certificate. Like, what exactly is that?
Well, it's not really a certificate. So the CSIRT is, as I said, the Cybersecurity Incident Response Team, and CIRT stands for Computer Emergency Response Team. It's used interchangeably within the field, but they both function almost at the same level. What they're responsible for is upkeeping the cyber resilience and the cyber hygiene of a nation, of a country, right? They help with the collaboration of within different states. They help build resilience. They help actually be responsive when it comes to a cyber incident, and they actually help with proactive response in the cyberspace.
Okay, so that's good stuff. What is the importance when it comes to looking at this cyber conversation, the cyber
Hmm.
hygiene, from a country's perspective? Because I feel like there has been this very quick and massive shift over to this online behavior. So it's interesting when you actually come out of your phone and you look around and you
Hmm.
realize literally everybody's on their phone. Scarily
Right.
so sometimes because you buy a traffic and you turn around and this person's like,
And if that, yeah, no, I've
yeah,
seen it. I've seen it
it's scary.
where just like you said, you're driving and you're in traffic and the car is moving and you're seeing someone in your food, right? And the vehicle is moving. Um, but to come as a nation, as a country, you need to be more aware, right? Cyber is good, cyberspace is good, digitalization is good, but with every good comes the bad, and you need to be cautious in a lot of things you do online. Um, just because it's online, that doesn't mean it's safe. Just because it's virtual, that doesn't mean it cannot hurt you physically in the physical world, right? A lot of things that happen in the digital world could actually have a physical and real world impact, right? So you need to be a lot more cautious and a lot more observant when you're doing these things. Yes, the device is good. I have a friend. He calls it a little devil. Um, I don't see it as a little devil. It's a device that's for convenience, right? But there should be a limit as to what you allow it to do and what you do with it, right? And you need to be cautious when in cyberspace. You need to be cautious on what you look at, what you click on, where you visit, what you say, what you do. All these things have real world impacts. If it happens to go in the wrong hands.
Yeah, it's actually something that's quite interesting because you now have to shift your mindset
Hmm.
on your behavior online because we thought that back in the MSN days when you're having whole entire conversations, life has shifted so quickly. So we're gonna go on a break, and when we come back, we're gonna have the conversation around what is the weakest link in the context of us as individuals online, but also in your business. So we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that helps you understand financial literacy and education. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're doing so from YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our page to continue seeing content that'll help you manage your money. Today, we're discussing tips to increase your cyber hygiene in Trinidad and Tobago. And we are joined by Rick Logan-Stanford. He is the team lead of infrastructure policies and legislation at the Trinidad and Tobago Cybersecurity Incident Response Team. So that's a lot in terms of your role, but I imagine you have a lot to do. So let's get into this discussion around the weakest link, because a lot of us, NCIS is a huge and very popular show. So is CSI. And a lot of us take that for a reality that, to me, I just, I have to chuckle, because I really think that someone's, in a hood somewhere typing away with 5 screens. So when it comes to cybersecurity, what are some of the surprises people may not be aware of when it comes to the weakest link when people are hacked?
Okay, so before I answer the question, I would just go to something you said about hackers. You envision someone in a hood, just typing out a keyboard. Surprisingly enough, there was a crackdown on a cyber criminal organization, and when they found the head of this criminal organization, it was actually a grandmother. They arrested her in the kitchen baking cookies for her granddaughter, and everyone was expecting this hardened criminal, but no, it was a simple. People were shocked. Her own kids were shocked to know that she was running this multi-international cyber crime organization. But to answer your question, when you talk about the weakest link, um, I would say the weakest link is us people, actually. Without the proper awareness, we are the weakest link in ourselves. Because just like you said before, when it is that you go with these phones, and you're also going on, you're going to do Facebook, you do a check-in on Facebook, and you're checking in and giving people your geolocation. You could actually be telling criminals where you are, for they could come and rob you, right? You telling people you're away, and these people who scour the internet or scour these social media for persons who travel to go and traffic them, you actually tell them where you are, right? Simple things like that, because you're doing it unknowingly, because you don't know, right? But once you do know, you need to be a little more aware and a little more conscious of what it is you do online, right? Some of the things you click, not every link comes across, you click them. Not every single post that comes across Facebook is legitimate, and that's the problem with some people, is that they believe because it's on Facebook, because it's online, it's real. That's correct. No, 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 no. Right? What we need more awareness. We need to be just a little bit paranoid online, not a whole lot, but just a little bit paranoid. Second guess everything that you see. Don't take everything for face value when you see it online, especially links that you from persons you don't know, links, weird links, and especially if it's too good to be true. Click on this and you get $500. Or just copy this link and you get access to free software or something like that. These sort of things, you need to be a little more conscientious about it. So without our proper awareness, right, it could be hazardous and dangerous.
That story you mentioned, forget about the Godfather Netflix special, The Grandmother. That is,
Yes,
it's
yes, yes.
giving
No,
some viral moments.
it's mind blowing, because that was just one. There was another case where they cracked down, and they found 3 individuals that were working in another sting, where there were 3 guys caught. One was at the age of 36, one was at the age of 12, and the other was 24. The 12-year-old was their boss. He was the one running the show, and they didn't know. No one knew. 12 years old.
Wow. I guess, it takes any age to achieve what you need to achieve. So this is very interesting in terms of how we have to the type of relationship we have the internet, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I want to head over to the comments because we have a question from Robert. Because we would have talked about earlier about passwords and
Mm-hmm.
how do we remember these passwords because they have so many, and you mentioned password manager. Someone wants to know any consideration for passkeys.
Um, Passkeys, you could use passkeys as well. But the passkeys are good. Once it is that you know how it's used and how to keep it, because when you lose a pass, it's just like the same thing with any password manager. You lose that and you lose your access. With passkeys now, it's a bit more secure, but I will say it's more for the technical side of things. For the non-technical people, password manager. For the persons who are more comfortable with technology, you could go ahead with the passkeys, right? So passkeys could is what can I say, is good as well, right? But I would not advise it for someone on the street who don't know about it. It can get complicated for them, right? But for a professional, IT professional, someone in the IT field, yes.
All right. So what I'm getting is there's a learning curve for the passkeys. So a lot of us head over to YouTube University, but definitely have to take that extra step to secure your data. So
Yes.
we've spoken a lot about what's been happening outside, as well as what we view as the reality when it comes to hacking. But
Mm.
let's talk about the cyberspace in the Caribbean. What is one of the top attack vectors within the cyberspace in the Caribbean?
One of the top attack vectors is vulnerabilities, systems that are not properly patched, systems that goes unmanaged, right? Because when these systems go unmanaged, they go unpatched, without any updates, because the mindset for most Caribbean, if it works, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? If it works as it is, why are we going to update it? Because when you run on updates, in some cases, you need downtime, right? Or you run a risk of something breaking. So why touch it? Don't touch it. Leave it alone. It works fine. Don't need to update nothing at all, right? But that is a huge um, vector. That alongside with credentials, stolen credentials that have been leaked. You like we said previously, you assigned you had a profile on account on a site. That site gets hacked. That password is outside there now.
Yeah, it's difficult because I think that we also have a lot of information online that could then relate back to our password. So, sometimes you see on these movies, you'll have someone pulling information from everywhere and then make up a password and it's successful. How real is that? What are we looking at?
Okay, so there are several different ways to actually, if you're going to do that. Um, so just to give context here, so there are two sides of cyber. There's a blue side and there's a red side. Blue side defends, red side attacks. Sitting on the red side of things, um, I've had I've had opportunities where I have to sit on the red side of things. What we do to actually get someone's password, there are different techniques. There's a rainbow technique, there's a password spray technique, there's a vocabulary technique, a dictionary technique. For the dictionary technique, you have a list of words that's commonly used for passwords, and you just put that in a tool, and it just tries every single password that it has in it in matter of seconds, milliseconds. Any rainbow attack is slightly more complicated than that. Then you have password spray attack where you just bombard the credential, the password line with a whole bunch of passwords to get there. But as you say with movies where it is that someone goes in and they get all this information to pull to see what it is that you may use as a password, it has some truths to it. It's not as embellished or as glamorized like it have it in the series. But what it is they do, I've done before in some cases, you research the person. So in a case like yourself, if I'm were to get your password or to and guess, which is also a technique in guessing your password. I would then get your name, right? Go to get your social media. I will use other techniques to see where else have you logged in. If you have a Pinterest account, if you have a Facebook, well, of course you have a Facebook, you have a YouTube account and a YouTube channel. If you're on any other social media like X, you're on any other lesser known social media units. You have your email address, where your email address have been on certain pages. What have you posted? What you like from all those pictures you posted, see what color is trending in all those pictures. Go try and have a full analysis of everything you have, and from that, build a dossier of you to see what is to determine your favorite food, favorite color, what most likely will be the word you will use in a password that will be 8 characters long or more, right? And compile a list and use that list to get your password and get access to it. I've been, and it's a technique that it takes a while to do it. It's not something you could do in like minutes or hours. But the more you know an individual, the more you get to know that individual, the higher the probability of you guessing that password even faster. And I've had an issue. I could tell you the quickest time I've ever been able to do that is 1 hour in actually doing the investigation of the person and actually getting to know the person and everything. And it was the password guess was one attempt correct, one shot, 1 hour.
And I want to be mindful because, there's people tend to fear what they don't understand.
Hmm.
So if you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, the internet is such a bad place, I need to get off of it. Or I've heard parents actually say, I don't want my children online. But I
Hmm.
don't think people realize how debilitating that is for their kids, because that's where work is happening, that's where future jobs are. So just any word of advice, especially for someone who, you've been in it, you've seen it,
Hmm.
that's someone who may be fearful and like, nah, I'm not doing this internet thing, or I don't want my children to do the internet thing. What advice would you give to them?
No, so yes, the internet may sound scary, right? It may seem like this lawless, godless place. But no, the internet is a place of convenience. It's where everything is happening right now. Online banking, payments. You're doing your shopping online. Schools send assignments online. You get work assignments online. You give reports online. Everything is going online now because it's the convenience and the efficiency is better than you actually physically going to do most of these things. The advice we give to parents, especially for children, is to monitor the activities, right? There are devices and there are systems that give you parental lock and parental control in what it is your child look at, what it is they see, what it is they interact with online, as from content to sites they see, right? Make use of these things. Most of these, when you go and you buy a wireless access point or wireless router for your home, they have these features inside. They have parental lock and parental supervision, monitoring features within it, so you could actually see what it is your child is seeing. You could control which site they go on, right? And you could monitor what it is to do. And also coming back to when I said that awareness is key, you need to sit with them, talk with them, let them know the dangers of it. Because just as much as there are dangers outside the internet can be useful. The internet is useful and is efficient, right? You just need to know how to be safe and how to use it wisely. Awareness and education is paramount and is key. The more you know, the more you can protect yourself, right? And I've seen it when we go out and we do our awareness training, and we go out and we do our awareness campaigns. Even with myself, I have an aunt and I sit with her, and I do that, but I have these discussions with her and let her know what not to do, what to look out for and everything. And what made me proud was one time I went over to speak with her, and she was actually telling me of someone was attempting to hack her WhatsApp, and she did not comply. She did not go through with it. She did not listen to them, and she listened and she understood. Okay, this does not happen this way. No one is going to call me on my WhatsApp to ask me for identification code. I should not be given any code sent to my phone to anyone over the phone or anyone asking. That is not so. I do not I am not going to give it. And the person called her and tell her, no, it's okay. You know, I am, I think it was a pastor or something. I'm a pastor. I'm trying to add you to a group and, I need the confirmation code. And she understood. And because of conversations we've had and because she listened and because she's more aware now, she knows that if I am going to add you to a WhatsApp group, I don't need a confirmation code. You don't need a confirmation code, and she is aware that that these confirmation codes are a way for attackers to gain access into your WhatsApp because that's how they do it, right? They will have your they could get your number, and all this is simple as this. They request a password change. When they request a password change on a virtual device, the system will send the code to confirm that it's really you asking for this, and it'll send to your device. But they themselves will call you and tell you they send your code to win a new iPhone, or to get a grant. Just repeat the code to confirm that it's really you the code come to, and you will go and do it. And when you do that now, they will take that code and send it to WhatsApp. Next, 2 seconds after, you lost all your contacts, you lost all your connection, you lost all your access. But because she was more aware, right, it did not happen to her. And then she herself started to tell her friends and her neighbors, listen, this individual from this number is doing this. Do not give the person this. And then she was even more aware that the number that was coming to her was not a Trinidad number, right? So with all that, she was able to protect herself, and it's not that she doesn't like technology. It's not that she's afraid of technology. She still uses WhatsApp. She does internet banking off of her phone, right? And she has the biometric um second locking on her phone. So when even still she logs in with the biometric, and she still have to give a confirmation code, and she has an authentication app that goes through to give that authentication to prove it's her, right? She still uses that. And it's no different than when you go to your house now, you go to your front door, you have a deadbolt and a normal lock, then you have a next lock to unlock the door to go inside. It's no different than a physical door being locked than when you go on your phone.
All right. And what's your aunt name? We need to shout her out.
I don't believe she'll be on, but
That's okay.
Marilyn Antoine.
All right, Marilyn. Well, you just proved to all the mothers and grandmas out there who say they can't learn.
No, no,
You've proven that it is possible.
yes, and she is very, very aware and concerned. When anytime she gets a link, right, she doesn't even click on the link. um but even so on her phone, I have um antivirus on her phone. I have AI running on her phone. I always double check and scan her phone on a regular basis. But even stuff when it comes with notification, she calls me to ask me, okay, what does this notification mean? What does this mean? What does that mean? So she's more aware. So the more she knows, the less she calls, and calls for that. And the more she's aware, and she then now talks to her other friends and say, listen, look out for this. You need to do this. You need to do that.
Yeah, I think that's so important, and that's why we have these sessions as well, because education is so important. So we're gonna go on a quick break. When we come back,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have the conversation around cyber grooming, because there are a lot of us out there who are lonely and want to be able to have communities, but that doesn't necessarily mean you say yes. So we'll be right back. And welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that helps you understand financial literacy and education. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're doing so from LinkedIn, don't forget to subscribe to our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. Today, we're discussing tips to increase your cyber hygiene in Trinidad and Tobago, and we're joined by Rick Logan-Stanford, and he is going to just share some insight because a lot of us online, there's some dangers out there that we need to address. But before we go there, I want to shout out. We have some folks in the comments. Janice has a quote. I want to bring Rick in. There are only two different types of companies in the world: those who have breached and know it, and those that have been breached and don't know it. Is that a quote that you know of?
Yes, and that is
Okay.
so true. So it's two quotes for that actually. One quote is this exact quote that there are two companies, those have been breached, I know it, and those who have been breached, I don't know it. And the other one is those who think they're not going to get breached, right? And those who prepare for such an incident. Um, but this quote is one that is prominent within the field here, and it's really true, right? It's either you get breached and know it, or get breached and you don't know it. There have been cases where cyber criminals have been sitting in networks for years, and no one knew it that they were sitting there for years before they actually did anything, right? And all they do is sit on the network and just watch and look and build a profile as to what is going on. And I would say, I wouldn't say mind-boggling, but that's how it is now, right? They sit and wait. They don't come in like an NCIS and come in and bring down the system one time. No, they sit and wait months, years even,
Yeah.
right?
I find it interesting because um there's this extreme, oh my gosh, we have all these issues, we're going to get the internet. But I think it's a shift into who we are as a species because we have different problems. I think if we had the same problems, if we had, I remember growing up being told about cholera, that was a big thing. That was
Mm.
what we were trying to fight for our lives. And now it's like, oh well, you should probably do this two factor authentication. Like, if I had to choose between color and that, I would choose the two-factor authentication. So I want to go back into the comments. We have Jorge Lewis. Greetings from Uruguay. We have someone from Uruguay. And cheers for Rick. You're a great initiative from BATT. Thank you so much for joining us, Jorge. So let's go into this conversation that I feel like we have a lot of terminologies and words
Mhm.
with the internet evolution where we're shortening things, acronyms. I can't imagine someone learning English right now. It's so hard. But what exactly is online love bombing?
All right, so online love bombing, it's something that's causing a lot of hurt, a lot of financial losses. So love bombing is for online love bombing is where, as you said before the break, someone is lonely, they find this, you're looking for this connection online, and you go in, and these malicious persons will come at you and shower you with attention, shower you with love, tell you I love you, you have beautiful eyes, every day, tell you that every single day, and pull you into them emotionally, make you see that they could do no wrong, that they are for you, they love you, they are all for you. This person is sent for you, right? When in reality they're doing that to pull you in, right? To manipulate you for whatever reasons they want at the end. Either manipulate you to get money from you, manipulate you to do something that you don't want to do. They have been I've been in cases, or I've handled cases already where um persons have given thousands of dollars, right? Just last year alone, the estimated amount of money that left Trinidad and Tobago due to love bombing was well over $2.4 million, right? Where they will come and they will pull you in. They'll seem the most affectionate person to you. They will show you with so much attention. You're the only person in the world. They'll make you feel like that. When in reality, they're just playing on that low self-esteem that you have, that need for companionship, that need for to find love outside. They need to find someone that's there for you, and they take that and they twist it and they manipulate you at the end of the day.
So, is there a reasoning, an end result for this love bombing? What is the intention? Because we are so connected,
Hmm.
and we are, well, we think that we are connected in the sense that we're able to multitask, but science has proven we're not really good at it. But when it comes to this approach, is it
Hmm.
that they see it as an easier way to get access to information online?
It's not so much about getting information online. What is for financial gain, for the most part of it, right? Because one case in particular, um, the granddaughter of the victim came to us and reported that they found something was funny with with this individual was talking to their grandmother, and they found it was fishy because they every time the person this guy is showing her with love, but there's no video. They never make a video call. He never makes a normal phone call. It's always messages, and they never met, never at all met. But they've been talking, and she's head over heels with this person. The person can't do any wrong. And when you do check it and you do look down in the investigation, she has sent over $100,000 to this guy, because it comes up where they will come to you and they will shower you with affection and they'll lure you in, and once they know they have you, once it is to get you, it's always, I don't have money to eat, I need to pay my rent. It's always a sad story, and it comes down to again to they looking at you and they're trying to figure out what sad story to sell you. I've done investigations already on the matter where I've created accounts, and they'll look at the accounts and they'll see that, okay, I'm posting myself with dogs. Well, the fake account with dogs, and I'm posting with animals, and I love animals and whatnot, and I love kids, but I don't have kids of my own, and I'm single and I'm lonely, and these sort of things. And they will come to me and they will say, okay, they have animals too. They have a dog, and the dog needs to go to the vet, and they have no money. Can you please send me $20? 20 US, I'm sending my dog to the vet, or they will come back and they'll still say again. One profile I had, I pretended to be someone who was once homeless, and now I'm living in an apartment, and I'm getting my life back together. And the narrative they came to me with was, they are facing eviction and they need money to pay their rent, and they come with this, and it starts off with they want $20, and then from $20, the $20 will escalate to $100, and that $100 will escalate to $500, and look, they keep escalating because they know you'll pay, and they always hit you the sad story. But by that time, they're already hooked. By the second set of money, by the $100, you don't hook, because they already know. All right, I have this person. This person feel I love them. This person feel I'm all for them. So they not say no wrong. And the same victim I spoke about, the grandmother saw no wrong with this person, right? The grandmother was dead hooked that this person is her soulmate, that this person love her, and this person coming to Trinidad to marry her and these sort of things. When in reality, the person was not coming on Trinidad. That person was happily married.
Wow. That is, it's interesting because my initial reaction, because we all look at external issues, well, we
Hmm.
start internally with our own experiences. I was like, what? Nobody can get $5 for me, but I think I've been burnt by family members. So that's a session for my therapist. But when it comes to you know, folks who have been victims of this,
Mm.
well, it's a form of abuse, I think. What is it? What do you think? What's the suggestion? Because it's easy to victim blame. It's easy to be like, well, I would never do that. How could you do that? What's the best way to have that discussion with someone?
I never say never when it comes to someone saying I could never do that, or that would never happen to me. It's what we Our next quote is, it's not a matter of if you'll be attacked, it's a matter of when, and how you brace for the impact. So it's not a matter of you will never get attacked by this, so you'll never be a victim of it. I tell you, they come very, very good, very, very, very good. They come to it, and I could tell you, I was not a victim of love bombing. I was a victim of catfishing in my early days of IT. I was a victim of it until I started to think more logically and put on my cap and actually started to investigate the matter myself. But advice for these things, simple enough. If you do not know the individual, don't send no money. It's as simple as that, right? These persons tend to draw on the fact that you're lonely, and they want you to, and they do it like a almost like a reward. I give you attention. So because I'm giving you attention, you need to give back to me. So I'm giving you attention. So me asking you for $20 shouldn't be an issue. So give me the $20 because I'm giving you attention. So you're giving me back this, right? Give me this as like almost like a transaction to them, right? But when you look at this and you look at these things, simple things you could ask to trip them up, to feel if the person is real. But even so, if the person is real, you could still do things to deter them. For one, when it is that you meet, some of them like to meet you on like maybe Instagram or Facebook, and once they try to pull you away from that social platform to another social platform, that's one issue right there. That's a red flag right there. The minute they try to move you almost instantly, right? It's okay, you talk and you move whatever. That's one flag. And next flag to look out for is you're talking to this individual and they're not giving you anything personable about them. They want to keep the focus on you. They want to know about you. They want to know everything about you. So they're not going to talk about myself. I'm not going to talk about myself. I'm not going to talk about my childhood trauma. I'm not going to talk about my dog. I'm not going to talk about my cat. I'm not going to talk about the neighbor who just gave me vexed the other day. No, I want to hear about you. I want to know everything about you. I want to keep the focus on you. And that's how they give you all that attention. They want to keep the focus on you, right? Another thing to look out for, they don't go on video. Even with deepfake, and they do not go on video at all, at all, at all. Right? You look on the social media sites. Look at when they have the posts. You cannot tell me you met on Facebook, right? And these are things to look out for, right? You're going on Facebook, and this person is talking to you on Facebook, and the account is only 6 months old. The account is 6 months old, and you have over 400 pictures. And you're trying to tell me you have pictures in Colorado, pictures in Amsterdam, pictures in um Grand Canyon, pictures in Dubai, and you have all these pictures, you know all these things, and all them posted in one day. All of them posted on the same day. How is that even possible? Your check-ins are almost hours apart from each other, right? But when it is that you're in this state of euphoria that you met someone who's paying you all this attention, you're not going to look at these things. You're not going to look at, okay, this person posted all these pictures. No, it's plausible that you have all those pictures in backlog, but people could say, playing devil's advocate, you have all those pictures in backlog and you add it, right? But certain things you can still look at in these pictures and see where these pictures have been taken place. See the timestamps. And some of these pictures do have timestamps. Look at the timestamps. Look at the lighting, right? And actually put logic to these things. Ask them certain questions. Be more. Try to turn the focus off of you and onto them. Try to see if you can pull that out of them. And some of the times they can't answer certain questions. Look at how they answer you. Look at how they reply to you. If it is that you said they ask you how your day was going, say, well, today was kinda crap, my dog died, I threw hot water on my foot. And they replies, oh, that's good, that's good. No, how is that good? How is that good? Right? So you look out for these little things. But come back to the same thing. You don't send people you don't know money, right? And even so, you want to send it, no, you don't send nobody money.
Yeah, that's a difficult one when you have humans' emotion in it. So we gonna go on a quick break, but when we come back, we want to have some key takeaways when it comes to increasing your cyber hygiene and maybe share a useful resource for all of us to learn about, who's using our data and how. So we'll be right back. Welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that helps you understand financial literacy and education. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're doing so from Facebook, don't forget to subscribe to our page to continue seeing content that'll help you manage your money. Today, we're discussing tips to increase your cyber hygiene in Trinidad and Tobago. And we're joined by Rick. We're just going to bring him in because we don't have much time. And we have a few more. I just want to head over to the comments. We have a contribution by Janice on Facebook. I feel like love bombing is a form of social engineering, manipulation, misdirection, misrepresentation, and exploitation of human psychology. And emotions come to mind. And we have so many of them that there's a whole study and
Yeah.
industry and profession specific to that we're still trying to figure out. So I can't imagine what that's like. So when it comes to this cyber hygiene conversation, we want to hear from you. Maybe give us a useful resource that we can use because in the States you have spring cleaning.
Yeah.
You have this idea of okay, New Year's happening, we're going to throw the old, check the new. But a lot of people don't include their cyber behavior with that conversation. So maybe give us some insight on our useful resource when it comes to checking out our cyber hygiene.
Okay, so one resource that persons could use, especially to save your password, is has been compromised. There's a site named Have I Been Pawned? So what you do, you go to that site and you put in your email address, and it goes out and it scans to see if your password has been out on the internet. Is if you're logged in, I will tell you actually which site that you used your that password on, and if it was that site was compromised, what day that site was compromised, how it was compromised. Another resource you could use is getsafeonline.tt. They give you a lot of tips and what to do to stay safe online for both adults and for kids. Other simple things you could do is check the privacy on your phones. All right, all your apps, check the privacy on the apps, and make sure that they are only using what they need to use. There's no reason for your calculator to have access to your camera. You don't need access to your mic either. Those sort of things. Watch out for those. Um, Keep your devices updated. Right, from your phones to your laptop to your computer. Don't ignore the updates. Always run the updates. These patches are there for a reason. These patches are there to actually close backdoors or to stop any vulnerabilities that hackers out there found. And the company now knows, so they're trying to help you be safe yourself, right? Um, Also check with your online accounts, right? Cycle your passwords through. Just because you have a password that you set from 3 years ago and you're thinking no one has gotten it yet, no, cycle your password. Get into a habit of cycling it, if not every 3 months, every 4 months. Change your password. Don't have it like password one, then the next one will be password two. No, switch it up. Make sure it's something totally different when you're cycling through these passwords and you look and whatnot. When you're looking at any app you're downloading, look at the reviews, look at the comments, make sure it's from reputable sources before you download any of these apps to your phones. And while you're downloading it, actually look at what permissions those apps are asking for. Very often enough, some of these apps some of these malicious apps make it in way of these marketplaces, or you go on these other places that's not the marketplace for it, and you download these apps and they're asking for access to your phone book when you don't need access to your phone book, access to your camera. Why does, like I said, why does your calculator need to see your camera and need access to your mic? It does not need that.
Yeah, I think that's like an additional step that most people don't even access because simple things like, they're in the settings of your Facebook profile.
Hmm.
There's a privacy and security section. I can bet more than 80% of people who've never been on that side, but they spend all the time on the newsfeed. And
Yeah,
similar to the other platforms, LinkedIn as well, they just made a terms and conditions update about AI, and they've
exactly.
allowed you to toggle to be like, okay, I can't use your data, you can use my data for AI. And most people aren't thinking about that because,
No,
for whatever reason.
they don't think about it. They're not aware of it. Like I said before, you need to bring your awareness. And like you said, with the privacy tabs and all these social media sites, you need to actually look at it and actually go through it to see who could post on your site, who could see what you post. All those things help, right? All those things help.
And I just want to also add all the links that we discussed will be in the comment section. You could also sign up to get this conversation directly sent to your email, just in case you forget. You could sign up to get notified for our next live show. And shout out to Shanta Singh on Facebook. Very true. Old passwords and accounts are easy pickings for hackers.
Yeah.
And it's a scary time. So let's just close off with, you know, one simple question when it comes to the role of education and awareness. Because,
Mhm.
I mean, I see the data online for Trinidad and Tobago and across the Caribbean. YouTube is the number one visited website. We spend so much time there, but it's for entertainment. Yet, there's so much information around this discussion. So, what do you think is the role that we need to kind of include in terms of education and awareness, Rick?
Well, what I think we need to include here is to actually what we're doing now, right? Increase the awareness, increase to let them know what to look out for. Right? Give them the tools they need, the knowledge they need to help them help themselves, protect themselves. Once they can protect themselves, they're actually lending and actually giving to this protection and security of the entire country, right? Because the common man on the street is the low hanging fruit for any criminal, cyber criminal that wants to get access to anything, right? So more education, more awareness will actually do away with the misinformation and disinformation that exists right now on the internet about certain things. The more they are aware, the better they are. They are actually like G.I. Joe. The more you know, the more you could be prepared. And knowing is half the battle. The other half is actually putting in action what you do
Eric, you're just giving us your age there, quoting G.I. Joe, but I knew what you were talking about. And on that note, I want to thank you so much, Rick Logan-Stanford, for joining us today and sharing insight into tips to increase your cyber hygiene in Trinidad and Tobago. Once again, check over to the comments and sign up to be notified on the next live show. As always, be sure to like and follow our pages across social media so you don't miss a single one of these very robust and important conversations. Thanks again. See you soon. Bye.